Hey everybody, Poppy Squid Jr. here. I've noticed that a lot of discussion for session involves questions such as how do you go from one grind to another on the same rail or ledge? Or how do you go from this grind into that grind, etc., etc. So I figured I would try to throw together a quick little tutorial video and help people figure this out. It's important to note that this mechanic is a very temporary one. The developers do not intend for this to work the same way in the future. They hope to replace it with something a little bit more intuitive. As a result, this mechanic and this video will only remain relevant for so long. But in the meantime, I really hope this does help. So there are two kind of skills that you might want to practice and get comfortable with before worrying too much about a lot of these techs. And the first one is your ability to cleanly lock a lot of grinds fairly consistently. You don't want to be barely able to land in a crook, for example, while trying to do a crook to nose blunt, because if you don't lock it in cleanly, it won't land into the nose blunt cleanly, and the precision of your grind becomes significantly more important the more complex the tech is. The second thing is your ability to rotate cleanly into slides. Another one that's not completely necessary, but it does help. You may notice here that if you watch the controller, I am actually doing the nose grind input with a 90-degree rotation with the triggers. Certain things, such as the nose grind to nose blunt, I've done a couple times here and just bailed there. I don't actually do it by tweaking, I do it by turning 90 degrees with the left trigger and holding the nose grind controls. This tends to work better, and being able to do that consistently will make you more reliably able to perform these tricks. So for the actual technical discussion here, you may notice that whenever you approach a ledge from one side and grind it, you'll pop out the side you approach from. That's the standard default thing that happens, and it's fairly consistent, and you can rely on that. Some double grinds actually can work off of this alone. For example, if you land a crook and rotate, you can land in a nose slide with the right momentum and angle. These are some of the easier ones to learn, and some of the ones I recommend starting with. That being said, there is another way to tell the game to pop the opposite direction. After you have landed on the grind and before you pop, if you double tap the other trigger, you'll pop in that direction instead. And you can see what I mean here by I get on the ledge, then I double tap, and then I pop, and it pops the other way. This is very important for certain things, such as the aforementioned nose grind to nose blunt. Another important detail to note is that whenever you use the double tap triggers to tell the game to pop in a certain way, that will become the new default direction to pop. For example, if I nose grind and then double tap into a nose blunt and then pop back out, you will see that the pop out also went left, because double tapping left to get from the nose grind into the nose blunt told the game that is the new standard direction to go. So to pop back out of that, I would have had to double tap the right trigger after landing in the second grind and before popping. On top of that, it's important to note that there is no way currently to tell the game to pop straight. So no matter what you do there, you will either go to the left or right. However, with certain cheeky kind of combinations of specific rotations and maneuvers, it is possible to almost sell the idea that you are popping straight. If you see here, the nose grind shove 5-0. As I pop there, I double tapped to pop the game to the left, and you can see the momentum kind of shifting to the left. But because I started with the board a little crooked before I popped, it swung around and I caught it crooked the other way, making up for the lost ground. So if you see people that look like they're popping straight, they're usually using similar mechanics, and this is an important thing to notice. There is one more method of double grinding that does not involve popping at all, but rather releasing your inputs and rotating to drop into a second grind. The example I'm going to show you is a crooked to Smith, and this, I believe, was invented by Murder, Myrder, on Twitch. If not, it was at least popularized to me by him. He's the first person I've seen do it. And I'm going to see if I can get that real quick, and I'll explain exactly how it works. So if I play it back here, you'll see that once you lock in the crooked, you release the grind inputs, and then as soon as the truck has left the rail and you are in the air, you can then do the inputs for the smith that you are falling into to lock it back in. This is a much more timing intensive kind of maneuver, but it is pretty cool in my opinion, and I'm a big fan of it. This also works with the same logic with overcrooks to feeble, doing a truck grind into a board slide if you're fast enough. This works with a lot of different things. Anyway, I hope this video was helpful for anybody watching, and I also very much hope that I laid out the concepts in a way that was easy to understand and not too convoluted. If anybody has any confusions or questions, I welcome them to DM me on Discord at any time. I'll leave my full username up on the video so that people can use it to reference, and I hope you all have a good night.